Okay, got the red smoke.
Gun runs north and south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. Get cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
Haven't thought too much about what? The fact that you're
Today.
in demand for your Q&A.
Yeah.
How's your coffee?
It's good. Not advertising here.
I think that's one of the other companies that's in this building.
Yeah. Well, thanks for finding me a glass.
Yeah. Which, full disclosure, is not my glass, so. How is that stuff?
It's pretty dang good, dude.
What is it? Yippee-ki-yay?
Yeah.
Let me see that thing.
It's been in here for like the last 2 years I've been visiting you, so.
I've done a few podcasts where it went too deep. Most of them were with Dudley, and the shit gets out of control.
Yeah.
You're fine. You think it's great. You listen back to a little bit of it. In the next few days when you're editing, you're like, son of a bitch.
And knowing your true style, it stays 100% in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just say more
think I've
things
heard some of those.
that I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's crime in the old Flathead Valley?
It's on the uptick, you know, as the influx of people.
What month do you guys start chasing around naked people?
Well, that's always a trend.
No, it's not.
But-
not in the winter months.
It happens, but it's mostly mental
you
health
serious?
problems. Yeah, yeah.
I was going to choose
It's
another.
it's a lot more frequent in the summer.
I was going to pick another M as opposed to mental health problems for wintertime streakers. Yeah. Shorter, ETH.
Yeah, that'll warm your skin up. But
I may or may not have seen some body cam footage of the slippery streakers, we'll call them. They're just streamlined. They're going for aerodynamics. Why do they do this?
so, oh man, all kinds of different things. But a lot of it is mental health. Actually, that's the number one reason. I in my opinion, professional opinion.
But what does that have to do with having clothing on?
Oh man, that's a good question.
What do you do if you cuff somebody who's naked? Do you guys have like Goodwill clothing that you put on them?
We have blankets in our cars, and a lot of times it's an ambulance, you know, that shows up for that type of thing. So they have tools,
Yeah.
blankets, sheets, all kinds of stuff.
That they get burned afterwards?
Oh yeah, yeah. They don't get washed and recycled. You know, one of the best ones. You know, Strider,
Yeah.
big
Nighthawk.
Viking.
Yeah, he's Nighthawk.
Yeah,
Quit jiu-jitsu not too long ago,
that's
much
right.
like yourself.
That's right. I'll be back though.
Sure you will.
No, he shows up to this report of a naked female, and sure enough, she's there when he gets there because it's like way up in West Glacier.
Report of a naked female where?
Like just walking on the side of the road, a passerby calls it in.
Awesome.
So the response time is great, and by the time he gets there, well, she's still there, and he gets out, and I want to say actually she had like a blanket around her. But it was suspicious in nature. So anyway, when he gets there, the camera's the funniest. Because he gets out with the lights on, like pedestrian stop, and she just drops the blanket and takes off running. And he's like, don't run from me. But he's like, as dry as can be.
Yeah. This guy's 260 on a light day. The
Yeah,
guy
like
we're talking
6'5" maybe?
about. Yeah, he's probably 6'5", 280 to be honest.
Yeah, big dude.
Yeah.
Redhead, big beard.
I actually would run from him given his size.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is if he catches you.
And he the last thing he wanted to do is try to take this this gal down, and the ambulance showed up at the same time, and it worked out. But yeah,
I feel like you should just call the firefighters on that one.
oh, absolutely.
Go get him, boys.
The first responders are there for a reason. We've talked about this a lot back and forth, but
Yes. So crime's on the uptick in the valley?
yeah, and it's just busy. The op tempo is just busy. It's not necessarily. I mean, we've definitely had a bunch of I can't call them homicides yet, but people shooting each other that have died because it could be self-defense and some other things. But
Recently.
yeah, yeah. But it's just busy, and it's like this build up before summer. We're in a weird spot in a rural community where a lot of people like to visit here in the summer, and it's ramping up now, and that's just the call types that we get. So, but it's fun. It's good and bad.
Is crime becoming more sophisticated, or are you just
No.
arresting dum-dums?
It's always the same. Yeah. You know, I heard somebody say, we don't catch them because we're smart.
You catch them because they're stupid?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They leave a lot of breadcrumbs.
What's the dumbest shit you've seen recently?
Ooh.
Like we're talking the bottom of the rung criminal.
Yeah, let's think about that. I want to give a good one because there's some really there's some really good ones out there.
We should probably explain why none of these show up in the police blotter
Yeah.
that I post, which some of your coworkers get extremely
yeah,
furious
a lot of
with me
people.
about.
Yeah. There was Melissa, one of our KPD officers. She wrote a really good like editorial, I would say,
Yeah.
on why the blotter is bad for law enforcement.
It's bad if you take it serious.
Yeah, for
if you
sure.
read it as
And that's
comedy,
what
which it's supposed to be.
Most people don't read it for comedy like you do. Most people move here and they're like, "Oh, sweet, I can leave my keys in my car and walk
you
down the
can.
street." Oh, absolutely. But it's likely to not be there when you get back.
Do you think people actually read that and don't recognize
for
that
sure.
all of the bad things that happen
Yeah,
are not?
dude. You're in a very rare part of society how you think. You think like us.
No. When it says 911 call for cow walking down the road, I just recognize that it's satirical in nature.
But you do. But most of people are like, "Oh, sweet, that's all that our law enforcement is doing."
It's some of what you guys are doing.
It is some.
I imagine.
Actually,
but
I have never gone to a cow walking down the road.
if you had to choose, though, like let's say you were having one of these summer nights, you could choose between chasing down nude suspects or going to a cow call.
100%.
That's like those calls actually like, oh, this is awesome.
I was just talking about this to a buddy of mine about we're hiring a bunch of laterals now, dudes that are leaving California and stuff and coming to Montana.
Yeah.
And
Aaron was saying you guys might have a pretty good opening, or they're going to try to get a good opening.
We're always hiring now. But we just hired this new dude, Jake. He's from Chicago area and super busy for the last 3 years of his career. Now he moved to here and he's like, "Oh man, op tempo's pretty good." Because the amount of resources you have to the amount of calls you have, it doesn't matter where you're at. If it's busy, it's busy. But what I was getting at with some buddies, I was like, Border Patrol has it figured out because a lot of those dudes work the southern border when they start their careers. The first 3 to 5 years, they're busy chasing down, illegals and whatever else. Then they can move into like Whitefish, the Whitefish border station, and they're riding snowmobiles and horses. And it's a cool way to finish your career. If you inverse that and you started your career riding horses and snowmobiles and then went to an op tempo that was super high and you're older and not super into that, I think it would be tough. Do you get where I'm going with this? Like,
yeah, but I think you mean reverse it, not inverse it.
Yeah, well, I could be. I could. What I mean is, so like Jake, he was working in Chicago, moved out to Montana. But what we're getting is so my old Sergeant Ernie,
You're talking about going from big to small versus small to big.
Correct.
Like moving here from San Diego and arriving at a place like this is, I don't know how people could go the other way, to include myself.
Yeah.
Going from the big world to start, like the world, big city to start with, to something super small where my nearest neighbor is 60 acres.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Going from your nearest neighbor's 60 acres to, as you're taking a piss, you can reach out through your window and touch the stucco on your neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Not awesome.
No, exactly. That's a really good analogy on housing.
It's the inverse.
Yeah, it's reverse. Either way, it's...
You still owe me a story for the dumbest criminal you've seen in recent times.
I can't think of a good one. I mean, I see it all so much.
What percentage of repeat offenders?
I don't know what the percentage is, but it's
Do you have people you know by name?
Oh, yeah.
So those are the dumb ones.
Yeah.
Like what kind of dumb shit do they do?
I mean, anything from they can't get along with each other, so domestic type disputes, to, guys cutting Cadillac converters out of cars, catalytic converters right now. Man.
Catalytic.
And
no more coffee for you.
Yeah, we call it CAT for short. But
what do they do with them?
So they hack them out,
and
they take them down. In our area, there's a steel recycling center, and it's really plain Jane on how you turn this in. You have to have an ID, and you give them the ID and this cat, and they give you $400 to $1,000, depending on the car it comes out of.
And they don't seem to feel like it's suspicious that somebody's showing up with a catalytic converter?
It's like the pawn shops that have a chain, and they get, this $1,000 gun. I'll give you $50 for it. And the guy's like, sweet. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
They know. And then that disappears to the next pawn shop in the next state because they're all a franchise.
Yeah.
So it's everybody's playing the game. But so many people are coming out to their cars now and starting them up, and they're like, oh, when did this turn into a straight piped V8? Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah. And with that, I mean, to replace a cat could be $1,000, but when they're hacking through brake lines and all the other stuff, now you're talking like $5,000 to replace this.
I'm going to imagine they're not being precise.
Exactly.
Probably going for speed and time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the 8-second rodeo ride. Yeah.
I would be very upset if I came out and didn't have
Oh, dude.
catalytic converter, or
Yeah.
saw somebody in the process of doing a little surgery under the hood.
There was a off-duty cop shot. He was coming out of a restaurant with his wife.
Here?
No,
Okay.
not here. National news, read it on I think Police One, and saw this guy roll out from under a car, engaged the guy verbally, and it turned into a shootout, and he died from what I read.
The cop did?
Yep, off-duty cop, and I think he got bullets on suspect, but that was just a random, and his wife was like, man, we were just eating dinner.
Yeah.
And we came out, and he would talk to this. He knows that dude is cutting,
It's not worth your life.
No.
For sure.
But what are you going to do? I
depends on the
bet
situation.
he was, what I would be thinking is, I'm going to try to just watch from a distance, watch what car he gets in, be a good witness.
Turn your car on with the auto on, with the remote, see what he does.
Yeah. But no, it's not good.
Call the fire department,
Blankets.
Fuck. I was walking down the alley and I ran into Dustin the other day. He's covering himself in hand sanitizer,
Oh, yeah.
bathing in it. I was like, what the fuck, man? He's like, yeah. I'll leave the store's name out of it. Just went to a local store. Like 6 people tackled a guy because he was stealing a baseball hat. And immediately I'm like, okay, risk versus reward.
Yeah.
Apparently the guy had MRSA. Like his hand was super swollen. So he shows up and has to go hands on. Is going to be cuffing this dude. And the guy's like, hey, I have MRSA. Ha, ha, ha. It's just like,
It's the card. It's like,
he's just like, ha, with the.
yeah, dude.
No,
We've all been there.
I was going to ask you this too. I was thinking about it. The civilians getting involved in law enforcement situations.
Okay.
Thoughts? Because I think I saw a post from Henner Gracie where he was offering something for people if they go hands-on and assist police. I'm talking broadly, but
Yeah.
he'll do the debriefs, which are great, by the way. I
That's
love
what got me into it.
What got you out of it? Because you haven't been going to class for a long time.
Dude, yeah.
The first Ironman I ever went to was you.
I know.
getting
My
your blue
daughter
belt.
goes, aren't you supposed to win, Dad?
Well,
Because I rolled with you very first out of the gate. You've been doing it for like 2 weeks, and we rolled for 20 minutes.
I didn't necessarily understand the rules at that particular.
Yeah, no,
Ironman.
you did
I
it
did
right,
ask. I was
bro.
like, "How are we
You did
supposed
it
to
right.
roll?" And they go, "To win." I'm like, "Fuck, all right. I don't know anything, but I can."
I saw the writing on the wall. I saw I had like 80 more people to go with, and I'm like, this is number 1. Yeah,
For
you-
a guy
you
who
tapped
got me
You
into
tapped me.
jiu-jitsu,
Yeah,
you'll
you'll never beat me.
That is what you said.
That's
to
what
me.
you tell me I said, but I don't remember.
Because we were hammered
Yeah.
at my house, and you said if you start today, you will never tap me.
I bet I would say something like that.
You 100% did.
Yeah,
How's that
I
working
believe
out for
you. I believe the context of this story is
Yeah.
accurate to my behavior.
How's that working out for you?
It's good.
Meanwhile, you're still a blue belt, and somehow I pass you along the way, which
dude.
is retarded.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say that word anymore. I'm not going to erase it, though.
Oh, I can still say it.
Okay.
When we roll, I still talk shit to you.
Okay. Henry, I almost think knowing him, he might have been offering a free quick flip sweatshirt for somebody.
Yeah.
God, that guy could sell ice to Eskimos. But some people in the comments, to include some officers, were like, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to incentivize people to get involved. Because I can see, I don't know. It almost seems like people want to play Batman from time to time.
I think a lot of people do.
Like somebody, I think about myself. I'm like, all right, I'm at the store where this occurred, and I, of course, first thing I asked him was like, well, what kind of hat was it? He's like, it was a sick flat bill fox. I'm like, okay, maybe we should stop this guy.
Stickers on it still.
Of course, I'm like, that's a sick hat. Maybe we need to stop this.
It might fit my head.
Bottom line, though, it's probably a retail value of, let's call it $30 on the super high end. Probably cost the store 10. Mm-hmm. 6 people are now hands on. Who the fuck knows what's going on in that person's life? Who knows what they have on them?
Right.
Tools or MRSA. And I could see it being helpful, maybe sometimes people getting involved to assist law enforcement, but I could also see it being a nightmare for you guys as well, too, depending on what you're getting into. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I could say yes to both. Yes, help, but the best thing to do is be a good witness. Like if I'm off duty, it's very rare I'm going to get involved.
Yeah.
And,
unless it was Strider, then we're in.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Unless Strider's in a foot chase, and then everybody needs to help.
Yeah.
I just get a skateboard.
We just need to stop the guy getting away, and then Strider will catch him.
Just get on a skateboard and give him the little college tap on the butt. Good game, buddy, and just skate past it.
Dude, Strider's such a stud.
Not in a foot race.
No. Also at jiu-jitsu, if you're underneath Strider, bad day.
It's like you're under a dying star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the juice worth the squeeze thing. I mean, it depends on what it is. In that scenario, retail theft, it's like, is it worth the squeeze that you're putting into it? The people there, like if I'm shopping, I'm going into so many different things, but if I'm shopping there with my daughter, I'm going to be as far away from it as I can be. I'm going to be a witness at the max. Like it's a baseball hat. I mean, watch the guy go out. If I can watch him get into a car, I'll probably text one of the local, like Dustin, be like, hey bro, if you get called to this dude, it looks like stole this hat out of this store. If there's an officer there, and let's say my daughter's not there, now I might question the guy. Hey man, did you pay for that? Or I mean, we're going down so many different, theoreticals.
Yeah, but you're a cop.
Yeah, totally.
Actually, you're a sheriff. I don't know if there's a difference.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but if I roll into, like, let's say I'm not a cop. I'm just
saying flip the switch.
Yeah.
Or, flip the scripts. You're now pulling up and you see 6 people dogpiling another guy.
I need to figure out who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
Bad guy meaning like the suspect, and they're still, the alleged suspect. So I need to find out what the context of this detainment is. Like who is it that we're detaining? What is the reasoning? And a lot of times if they haven't left or gone past the point of sale, it's not a retail theft. So how do we know
Pretty sure this one occurred in the parking lot.
Okay. So yeah, and in that scenario, no, it's not worth it. And look, that guy, like MRSA, dude, I mean, it's not worth it. But if I'm rolling with a guy on like he's got warrants on the side of the road and a civilian comes up and is like, hey man, I'm here to help, yeah, help me out. Like hold here while I get his arms behind his back or whatever as I'm calling for help. And
maybe better though if they wait to be asked for help in that situation.
If they identify, even me, like when I was doing undercover stuff, we were really careful at how, like, okay, if this turns into a shoot, like they're not going to see our badges around our necks or on our waistband. They are not going to see it when they come in for a shooting. So be very clear, be like hands up.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the situation should dictate if you get involved or not. And over retail theft, no. But if it's like a major assault, let's say you're at the rodeo and you see a guy pull out a knife and stab somebody. And
we can do better than that. Let's say you're at Super One in Columbia Falls and somebody
truck
drives a vehicle into the store.
Yeah. Get involved. If you have a gun, use it.
I saw the footage of that. I was like, you've got to be shitting me.
Yeah.
Just straight. I mean, it essentially was just a larger shopping cart.
That dude also ended up naked running from the police. And
really put a bow on that
one for
you guys.
Your word choice was correct on that one.
What?
Meth.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he just thought it would be. It has wheels like a shopping cart.
You guys can look this up. Columbia Falls Super One. Dustin was shopping there like 10 minutes later, and he's like, "Man, I just missed this opportunity." Yeah.
Yeah, meth's a hell of a thing.
I mean, those city cops, though, they have their badge tattooed on their forehead with their dick broom. Dustin is like recognizable as a city cop.
They are, I did notice that. Are they doing some like Movember, but it's in May?
No, he just has adopted the
It's just part of the uniform?
Yeah.
The Super Trooper fucking straight dick broom?
That's KPD now, bro. The broom.
He's probably dusting a lot of shaft with that would be my guess. All right, for some Q&A, you ready?
All right, yeah, let's do it.
Switching gears. One question I have is about divorce. And I know it's not the best topic for Q&A, but I want your opinion on my situation. My wife and I divorced in 2017 after she stepped out of the marriage. We tried to work things out these past 5 years, but it's not going to work for me. I have debated on just living in this relationship until my kids that are 8 and 6 get grown. But I also don't want to waste a good portion of my life doing that with a relationship that is never going to work long term. What is your advice on making this move and moving on? Also, how did you explain the situation to your kids? Or should I say, what's the best way to tell my kids that are 8 and 6? Any advice would be appreciated. Stay or go, and how would you tell the kids?
Deep questions right out the bat.
Well, between the two of us, one of us is divorced, and I can empathize with this. Did your parents stay married?
Yes.
My parents stayed married as well. So,
and it was a good marriage.
Yeah.
Yep, they're still married.
What if it hadn't been a good marriage? And this is why I pulled this question, because I'm not an expert on divorce. I have gone through one, and I say the same thing every time. Fucking avoid it at all costs. It's miserable. You're going to get drug at best into court, and you're going to be reduced to ones and zeros, and things are going to get said that can't be taken back. And your life, it just gets reduced down into garbage. But what if, and I'm trying to look at this from the perspective of being a kid, because one of my main decision-making points for me was my kids and the environment that they were in versus the environment I thought that maybe we could build to outside of that. If your parents hadn't been happy,
yeah,
what would you have wanted? Because what I'll say, before you answer, what I'll say is at 8 and 6, or I would say actually at any age while you're living with a significant other, you can try to fake it with your significant other, but don't think you're faking it for your kids.
100%.
Like they hear things, they see things, they're going to know something is off. I would describe my mom and dad's marriage. It was very loving. They were great parents. Of course, they had their ups and downs.
Right.
My dad's a unique character, as you know. You've met him a few times. My mom was a unique woman to be able to tolerate that shit.
Yeah.
But if they had not been happy, I wouldn't have wanted them to stay together, because that environment is fucking miserable.
Yeah. It's super tough, man. My daughter talks about, she's 9. She just turned 9. About kids who, did you notice their parents were at the soccer game, but they weren't standing next to each other?
Really?
Yeah. And
they're sponges, man.
Oh, man. And reinforcing, man, I'm really glad that you and mom are together. And but she doesn't know any different. And it's a healthy, like good home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think, I get to see bad homes all the time. And by bad, I mean, they're both good people, but they just do oil and water, you know? And it's obvious that they would do better, or maybe they wouldn't do good at all. And no matter what environment they are in.
But they're clearly not doing well together.
Exactly. And they're giving a living example for their kid at that moment, or through that period of time. Go ahead with what you were going to say, because I guess the question, so 2017 is when he said they started, I thought she stepped out in 2017. And
so it sounds like that they're still, I'm going to make the assumption that they are still living in the same house. So they might have divorced, but they tried to reconcile.
Man, that sounds awful.
It does sound awful. And here's one that I get, and I've heard a lot, and it fucked me up in my own situation. I have to stay for the kids.
Right.
So 8 and 6 that's 12 years, assuming that your child launches into the real world, whatever people want to consider that to be at the age of 18. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine knowing that you are just going to eat 12 years of misery and thinking that you're going to get joy and satisfaction out of life, which, by the way, we have no idea how much time we have left anyway. Right. And it doesn't help the kids.
No.
For what you said, you see these homes that are oil and water and the impact that it has on the kids. But that was probably my biggest hurdle that I had to get over, what impact the divorce was going to have on the kids.
Right.
And what got me over it was, well, what impact is the environment that they're living in now having on them? What
Sure.
would be better? Probably to just take a knife and release the air out of the tension or the stress of the environment that they're living in. And there was consequences. I mean, you know how things went with Riley, almost 2 years without talking to me, my oldest son. Great relationship with my middle son and my daughter throughout the process. Riley and I have reconnected, but it was rough. It was rough for sure. But eating 12 years of being unhappy and unfulfilled and knowing that you're doing it for the kids who are probably going to be seeing completely through the transparent whatever you would describe with your significant other, I don't think that's the move. I think it's an excuse.
I agree. I think that you want to be the best example that you can be to your kids, both of you, no matter the living situation that you have, and to endure 5-7 years of like a not jiving marriage is going to display to your kid what marriage is about. Or what real looks like or what normal looks like. And I think the hard job is the divorce a lot of times. It's the hard step, you know.
Should be the last one,
I
in my
agree.
opinion.
I agree. You know, I'm not pro divorce, but I think that it's a tool in certain applications for sure.
Yeah.
And man, just as you said, kids are sponges, and my biggest thing is I want to display to my daughter the best every single day, the best step forward, and have her be proud of me when I'm not around, and to be an example for what a husband should look like to her. And if my wife and I were having this 7-year or however long,
5 at least,
roommate basically situation, man,
probably
nobody's
roommate
happy.
at best. It
Yeah.
sounds like there might be a little contention.
And nobody's happy.
time to time.
Nobody's
No.
happy. You know, the kid's not happy.
Yeah.
And you and your spouse aren't happy. But but that hill to walk up to get to the divorce is a hard hill to go up. And I think that that's more important, to take those steps versus live together. Man, it just sounds awful. That sounds awful.
It does. And then part of the question was, how did you explain the situations to your kids? My advice on this, and I have a data point of 1, is to do it directly.
Yeah.
Age appropriately, so 8 and 6, you know, maybe you don't need to sit down and be like, I fucking hate your mom. And
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
maybe what I would say is use whatever words you want. What I would say is avoid any ambiguity, because I think catches people. Oh, you know, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna try,
Yeah.
and then it's like it balloons in and out, and so the emotional state does that as well. I'm not saying don't try it. You know, if you need to take a separation and come back, but I'd be very clear with the kids about what's happening, and then be the best version of yourself that you can be. I mean, 5 years, 2017 to 22, 5 years. I mean, ask yourself, you know how you feel now. Would you want to feel equal, if not worse, in 5 more years? Or imagine how different your life could be 5 years from now. If you took a different path, and maybe your kids, so what would that be? Let me carry the 1 on this, 13 or 11. I almost had to call a firefighter for that. How on math? I know you wouldn't be able
It's
to
on
do
the
it either.
test, the entry test.
Imagine the different life you could have at that point. You could be at an island by yourself, but a great relationship with your kids. You could find somebody that you never even imagined, and they could have a completely stable and healthy environment. Or you could continue eating shit.
Yeah. And if sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. I was just going to say, and think things are going to change by not changing anything.
That's it. That's exactly what I was going to get at. And so if you do stay together and you're doing it because you hope that things will get better down the road, well, you need to put the work into it. You know, like in my own marriage, it is not easy. It's
I don't
work.
think
It's
any
elbow
marriages
grease.
are.
Yeah. And
People who tell me that their marriage is perfect, I'm like, you like lying to me, don't you?
Exactly.
There's no such thing.
No, there
The people
isn't.
that tell me that they have, like, my marriage is perfect, my relationship is perfect, it's like, why are you lying to me? I'm a human being too.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Yeah.
lie. At least
No,
don't lie to
totally.
my face. Do it over text.
it's constant work, man.
Yeah.
And you have to, what you have to do is take the steps that it's just like good advice from me and you. If you're like, hey dude, you're not making it to class very much.
I tell you that all the time.
I
It
know.
changes your behavior not a bit.
I've been at class a bunch lately.
No, you haven't.
You're not there. I'm
Neither
in
are you.
The foundations class.
You're not there either. So,
But anyway, but that derails my example that I was going to get to. But to change your behaviors, and if you can't change those behaviors, then you're not compatible. I mean, at some point, get some counseling, get a third party in there, because it's really easy to not see your own blind spots.
yeah,
You know.
agreed.
And also, I have not a lot of experience in this. I have been very impressed with how you have been, how you speak of your divorce.
I tried not to.
It's mature. Yeah, but it comes up and it's mature. Yeah. And I think your kids are probably paying attention more than you realize.
I hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to come to the realization that you're still attached to their mom through the parenting aspect for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to do or say anything that would ever change or diminish the way that they think about somebody else. And even if the other party is doing that, for people out there who are like, oh, yeah, that's great, but the other side of the coin for me is just ragging on me the entire time through the kids, you can't control that. And like I said at the beginning, kids are way smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. They will separate the wheat from the chaff on that on their own. So,
agreed.
The subject of this email was calling my husband out to quit his job. Let's see if he doesn't bitch out. So, of course, I had to read this. All right. My hubby and I have been married since we were 25 and dated since we were 19. We are now 42, and he has been a teacher I'm going to leave the city out, for going on 19 years. If he remains in his job till 25 years of teaching, he will get medical benefits for the remainder of his existence and a portion of his pension. He is an avid hunter and trout fisherman and loves to be outside. So basically, we're talking about you, but you're not a teacher.
Yeah. We'd be buds.
You would be buds. And you wouldn't be at jiu-jitsu because you would be fishing for his trouser trout, but that's a different story.
We can fish in the afternoon.
Teaching, in his words, sucks ass and has gotten worse year after year. I can believe it too.
Yeah.
He is an amazing biology and forensics teacher. However, the increasing generational laziness has worn on his nerves. His job stresses him out on some days to no end. Unfortunately, we lost his dad just after our wedding in 2005. His dad, also a teacher, taught for 30 years and coached track, but then the year he retired, he became sick with cancer and died within 6 months of retiring. Holy shit. I do feel he is subconsciously concerned that his good years are and have passed him by, and is frightened he will not be able to live fully like his dad didn't get the chance to do. Now, here's where I need your help. I have lured him into listening to you, and we both thoroughly enjoy the podcast. We have a fabulous, smart, beautiful 10-year-old daughter. My husband supported me when I stayed home with her when she was first born until 3.5 years old, for which I am forever grateful for. I am now a very successful real estate agent making over $200K a year. I keep encouraging him to quit his job and pursue what he would like to, or take a year and figure that out. He is such a hard worker in everything he does that he will never do this, or that he will never be the dude that just chills on a couch and does nothing. I am double dog daring him to quit and allow me to be his sugar mama and take care of the bills. He is super risk adverse and too practical for his own good. We have years of reserve in the bank, and I do think the weight lifted off of him to not have to go to a place that drags him down more days than it lifts him up would be life-changing for him. So let's collectively tell him, her words, not mine, to stop being a pussy and quit and enjoy life. I appreciate you, Andy, calling him out on his bitch assness. That is a word you don't read often. He will be listening to this and doesn't know I emailed. I am that kind of loving wife. Would you... I look at this one and I wonder if somebody... I enjoy working. Do you?
Yes.
Do you enjoy sitting in your house and doing nothing? Let's start there.
No, I do not.
I was going to say, not only do you enjoy working, you have, and I texted you this not too long ago, more hobbies than time. So you're actually, you may not be a great example, but there are a lot of people who get attached to their career, and you spend, like, you're like, I'm going to work, and I'm going to save for a rainy day. And you get all that, and maybe it doesn't get there. But I read this email, and I'm thinking to myself, what would I do if I was in that situation? I would go nuts. Mm-hmm. It's not that I feel like I have to be the breadwinner in a family, but I have to do something that is fulfilling and enriching for me. The podcast actually satisfies most of that for me. I have so much fun doing it. But if Rose came to you and was like, Nelson, quit your job, I'm going to be your sugar mom, what would you say?
Down. Let's do it.
And that's why you're a shitty example for this, because you'd be like, today I'm going to bear hunt, trout fish, shoot my bow, work in the garden, snowmobile, snowboard. What else? What other shit?
Ride motorcycles with you.
Motorcycles.
Way in the back.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have a women's bike, when you're riding with men's bike. You river raft guide. It's
Enjoy Montana.
Don't forget
How about we
hunting
just
season.
capitalize that?
Okay. This individual, I don't know about New Jersey. I don't know if the whitewater rafting is great there.
Yeah, I don't either.
I can empathize where this woman is coming from, but I can also understand where the guy might be hesitant. So what I would say to this woman is maybe frame it a little differently. Instead of saying, you little bitch-ass pussy, which, trust me, at a deep level as a human being, I appreciate that she went that path on it.
That's how I got you into jiu-jitsu, bro.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah,
and then you quit shortly thereafter.
Yeah. Well, when the teacher becomes the student, right? Or student becomes the teacher.
I pulled this one because I think a lot of guys would actually have a hard time saying yes to this because for whatever reason they have some level of ego attached to having to be the breadwinner. And to me, that wouldn't be the issue. It would be the issue. And maybe this is the issue for your husband, is that he doesn't know what he would do with his time. And that actually might be more terrifying than anything else.
Yeah. I have all kinds of thoughts. I think there's a dynamic there where my dad was a super hard worker. Plumber, like self-employed, just a good dude. Work hard, work your whole career. He just recently retired. And this guy's dad was a 30-year teacher. And so that's an example that was set before him. And it's almost like this mark that you need to hit, almost like the pension in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Once I hit
the dangling carrot.
Yeah. And we recently have had an exodus of guys in my department just leaving. And we live in...
Going to where?
Going to private sector, going to wherever.
Oh, so they're leaving the first responder world.
Yep, absolutely. Some are moving on to different like Fed jobs, but a lot are, I mean, this valley, there's a lot of influx in people. So there's a lot of like irrigation businesses that you can start and landscaping.
Construction
and make more,
is kind of booming right now, I've been told.
And make more money than you are in law enforcement without the risk, without the nights, without the people hating you. So it's appealing, but there's some drive that all of us feel. Cause I was just chatting with one of my buddies that left to do this after 14 years, stud. And he's like, man, I miss the guys, but I'm stoked that I'm home in the evenings with my family. And I'm just coming off a night shift and I'm like a zombie today, first day off. But there's this like carrot that's dangled in front of you of this example that's been presented to you. And when I grew up, all of my relatives, mainly my cousin Matt, was a Maine State police officer. And I just was like, do the career and then you can figure out your retirement. But that may not be the avenue, that may not be. And in my scenario now, I have 5 years till I hit my retirement. And
you have a good work-life balance though.
100%. And I have a lot of opportunities outside of work. So many of the dudes I work with are like, what am I going to do when I leave here? I don't know how to do anything else. And so they only know how, like they know law is awesome. They're great cops. Yeah. And they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I retire because I don't know how to fly fish guide or do what you do.
Yeah. But if you get to that place where you say you don't know what what to do, go on the internet and start looking at shit that you like.
It would probably be exciting to find a new career, be the new guy. I
mean, you guys work 4 hours a month, from what I can tell. It's like
yeah. When you're awake, 4 hours.
What I'm saying is, you have time.
Yeah, we do. And
like mess around. Like that's the advice I give people: is mess around with shit with no pressure whatsoever.
100%.
And if you find something you like, then go after it in your off time. If you're sitting there going, oh, I just don't know what I would do. That's a solvable problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Find your hobby, find what you like to do and look at how, like for me, riding motorcycles and snowmobiles, I think when I retire, that'll be an avenue that I pursue for work.
Guiding wise?
Yeah, guiding or maybe working for a company. I don't know.
I still have your stupid website, Rocky Mountain Moto
that's
Tours.
right.
We're literally
And
riding
honestly,
the dual sports last year, and
that's
they're
right.
like, "Hey guys, we're going to do this business." That's not what you sound
Yeah,
like, but that's the
bro.
voice I'm going to go with. We're going to do this business.
What I have
Rocky
found-
Mountain Motor Tours.
I sound just like
You don't sound like that at
I
all.
was
but
like, that's me. No, but what I did figure out is you can't do both great. Like I can't be
yes,
doing.
you can. You dumbass. You hire somebody.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. But my ambition is there. Like I'm definitely ready to go. And if my partner Rose was supportive of that, I'd be like, all right, she's a smart chick. Let's do that. But right now, it's like, hey, this is still the path for me personally. Side note, we don't know how much time we have. And
That's the biggest mind fuck of all of it.
dude. So not to get super dark or bring a weird thing in, but yesterday, Mother's Day, my mom calls, and actually I called her, and
Which is the way it should be. You shouldn't be getting a call from your mom at 9 o'clock at night. Be like,
bro, I was on nights, so I woke up at 2 in the afternoon, and so that's like 4 in East Coast.
yeah,
And her sister, my aunt Lori, was about to die. And so not being super weird or anything, but she's a teacher. Thursday, she goes home from work sick. Friday, they go to the ER because she's starting to slur and not make sense.
Ooh.
Brain tumor. Too big to, they set actually surgery for Monday, for today. So Saturday, my mom goes and visits her, and she doesn't know who my mom is. Sunday, she can't see, but is also not in pain at all. This tumor has like cut off the pain.
Interesting.
Yep. Like she's just happy,
yeah.
but not responsive. And this morning, I woke up to a text from my mom that she's in heaven. And
To be honest, I'd rather hear that story than it went on for 8 months.
Yeah,
and it
100%.
slowly,
Yep.
we had to have the same conversations over and over again, and we would go, so there's some horrendous fucking
Yeah.
stories like that.
yeah, my father-in-law, he was the most badass mountain man I ever met. He taught me everything. Died in a camp chair, and nobody even the autopsy didn't really show what had happened. But he was 62.
Cause of death, full life.
Yeah, 100%.
Mine will say stupid choice.
But to say all that is, all those people working with my aunt Lori in Milo, Maine, like at school up until Thursday, life is good.
Yep.
And then she doesn't come to work Monday after going home early. Okay. We don't know how much time we have. There's an hourglass above each of our heads, and I can't see into yours and you can't see into mine. And not to be fatalistic. However, this guy, if he's unhappy and he doesn't like it, I don't know him. He sounds like a rad dude.
Well, and also, though, they're talking about they got a bunch of money in the bank and she's doing well.
I know.
This is another pursuit that I have so been caught in at times in my life. I need to have X amount of dollars in the bank, and then I'll live.
No, totally.
I have to have this much money, and then I'm going to go do the things. And what if you get Z'd out by a car?
Yeah.
In my will, it says put the money in the coffin with me and then burn it so none of you fuckers can have any. Because everybody's like, oh, you don't get to take it with you. It's like, well, you don't have a good enough lawyer, because if you have a good enough lawyer, you can take it all with you. No, I have been caught in that trap. Like, you're saving for a thing, or you want to go do something, and you save and you save and you save, and so much time passes, and then you forget about it and you move on to something else. I was having this conversation with my dad. He was getting very interested in reverse mortgages, which my dad's not a spring chicken anymore, but he's doing okay. He's probably got at least one more good year left. No, he's doing awesome. But let's just say my dad focused on the construction. My mother handled the books. Mm-hmm. Very, very good for my dad, because otherwise he would just have cash in the sock drawer. So my mom had investments and stuff. He's got money. Yeah. And he has an investment guy that he works with, and he gets a draw every month. And we were talking about things that he wanted to do. And I'm talking broadly, and I'm paraphrasing from a little bit. So sorry, Dad, if I misspeak. But essentially, he didn't want to mess with the amount of money that he had in the bank. But he's like, I want to do these things, but I don't want to spend the money. I looked at him like, Dad, I don't want the money. And what's the goal here? to have that much money in your account when you die?
Right.
Or how about you get that fucker as close to zero? You know, Casey, my sister's going to be super pissed because she wants it all and she wants the house. She can have it. I don't want it. And it's like, Dad, that's your money.
Yeah.
Like, and
Experience.
But you're thinking about this. You're like, and I've been in that like scarcity mindset, though. It's fixed income.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying to him, but the amount that is fixed is your choice. Well, my investment guy, no, fuck you. Your investment guy works for you. Make the draw whatever it is that you want to be. Go buy the trailer. Drive through the Tetons.
Yeah.
Drive through Yellowstone. Go do all of this shit. Instead of trying to say, hey, I got to get this money and leave it like this. Like, dude, give yourself 10 years, divide that number by 10 and fucking go to town.
Yeah. I agree with you, man, 100%. I think it's culture that our parents grew up in. You know, my dad never took a loan. I mean, he did. He took loans, but it was like
credit was, I think, a little bit different back then as
100%.
well.
But I remember my dad, super hard worker, we grew up on a lake. They bought a little cabin in Maine. It ended up being this awesome house that they live in now. But I grew up there and I wanted, like, my neighbors would go out boating and I would get to go water skiing and wakeboarding behind their boats. And my dad's like, yeah, when you're in college, I'll have a boat. He did. But he was too old
It's like
to
a rowboat.
Yeah. He got a nice boat, but he couldn't kneeboard behind it because his knees were too shot by that point, and he wouldn't take the loan out for it. And I'm not scoffing at that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud of my dad. We're in a different culture, and I think this guy that wrote in
Gal.
is
She's trying to
well,
get
the
us to call
gal,
it
but
his
her
bitch-ass husband.
Right, her bitch-ass husband is seeing the example his dad set for him.
Yeah.
The 30-year career. And that's probably part of, like, there's a lot of career law enforcement guys. Their dads were cops, they're cops. And that's the drive, right? It's probably the same in the teams, you know, like, hey, this was a family business. And
Less so than you would think.
Okay.
Actually, legacy family members generally don't do very well. And I don't know if that's because of the pressure of being
Right.
the second. And some do. Some do
Yeah.
great. There's been like 2 and 3 and 4 generations. I would actually say, though, I think mathematically less than 50-50 that you're even going to make it through training.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yep.
Especially when, well.
Especially at Thanksgiving, you're like past the fucking potatoes quitters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with you, man. I think this dude, if.
So how would you
Well,
couch this? Because my suggestion would be,
come visit us.
that's an awesome suggestion.
You know, come fly fish. in
Rocky
Montana.
Mountain Motor
Yeah.
Tours.com. Nelson, I own the website. He has done nothing for it, so don't even bother going to that website.
No,
But
like, see what it, like, if you let your hair down a little bit,
Yeah.
you're more likely to let it down again.
I would have this conversation and base it in terms of time.
Yep.
What do you want to do with it? And you could have a very linear and logical conversation about money and where you are and how you have flexibility and just take a risk.
Yeah. I like it. I agree.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And don't be a bitch ass. Those are your wife's words, not mine. All right. Last question, because I don't know how long we've been going. Longer than I normally do. This one is for you because you're such a practitioner. Is BJJ really that important? Is the subject line. I want you to answer this from the perspective of somebody who's retired from jiu-jitsu.
Once you reach a point, dude, that polished blue belt.
Fuck. I'm an avid listener and appreciate your ability to remove or announce bias in your podcast. I have a question for you. I'm a Navy vet, 32, and I work out 5 times a week. When I got out 9 years ago, I lost myself in the world of corporate ladder climbing. Not uncommon. About 4 years ago, I decided to stop being a pussy and take my health into my own hands. So here we are, 2022. I'm in excellent shape. 5'11", 225, 18% body fat. I actually have no idea what that even looks like.
It sounds like he's stacked, though. 5'11" and 225.
Yep. Currently, I strength train 3 times a week and running outdoors for an hour 2 times a week as I slim down for summer. You got to get that summer bod in. Summer this year in Montana will be on a Thursday.
You know what we do in Montana? Bent rods and dad bods.
Perfect.
Catch
What do you guys
trap.
call a 6-pack? There's like a fish.
You guys. You guys.
Yeah, you fishermen.
What do...
You put like a 6-pack in the river. Isn't it like a...
Oh.
What do they call that shit?
There's not a name for it that I know of.
I swear there is.
Cold beers at the end of the day.
Yeah, but it's like there's like a guppy or some shit like that. People call that.
That's not something I'm read into.
Anyway, bent rods and dad bods for summer. I have my nutrition on lockdown too. Schedule, discipline, weigh, and track my food Monday through Friday, etc. My fitness drives me, it relaxes me, and in some capacity, it defines who I am. That's cool. So super active. I'd also, though, be very cautious with that because if you sustain an injury, you might emotionally implode if it's all tied to that. Maybe not, though. But everybody says, do BJJ. And here's where I have trouble. I don't think I could fit BJJ into my schedule with working full-time and prioritizing my workouts. Additionally, I enjoy a good level of autonomy with no job and commonly work out late morning or early afternoon when I can squeeze it in. I guess I'm old because the thought of doing a 5 a.m. or 6 p.m. jiu-jitsu class is tiring. What I suppose I'm asking is for somebody like me who is on a good path, is in excellent shape, is enrolling in BJJ really that important? I feel like with energy levels and just reality, I would have to sacrifice 2 days of physical training per week, and I'm not sure I'm okay with that. I understand BJJ is a reasonable workout, but I very much enjoy being in my head when I do my own thing. What are your thoughts?
So I think that BJJ would be great for this guy.
I think he may not understand how much of a workout it can be.
It is a workout, but I would say to not start it for the workout because he would be like, oh, I'm not getting what I want out of it.
Time to tune it up.
Yeah.
Go harder.
Yeah, eventually.
If you don't win the drills, are you even training?
I win every drill.
That, for everybody listening, was a joke. All right? They're actually not supposed to try to win the drills.
I think a couple things in here. I think this guy is definitely in a spot where he's about, I don't know. I mean, he's writing you because he's in this great a shape.
He's writing me because he's getting bombarded like I was when I started with jiu-jitsu from somebody who looks a lot like you.
Totally, bro.
You need to start jiu-jitsu. You need to start jiu-jitsu.
Never tap me.
That is actually what got me over the edge. And I specifically, for the record,
And
said,
by the way, we should talk about Paul's
what?
Paul's Iron Man for his purple belt when you were sitting on top of him.
I don't know how we ended up there, but I appreciated it.
That was the best, man.
I have a great picture of that.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I think I was trying to put him in a mounted triangle and he like snuck his arm out.
Yeah.
So I just sat. I was like, well, I'm on your sternum, so I'll just sit here.
I've never seen that ever. And I was laughing so hard.
He whispered some really sweet nothings to me while I was there.
He'd have to yell them to you because you're a long ways up. You're sitting on his chest.
No, I was looking
with his
down at
arms
him.
pinned.
It was sweet for the picture. He was holding on to my gi and opening it up, and there was a perfect branding shot of the rash guard. It was legit. What the hell were we talking about?
So is BJJ important or something along those lines? That was one of the questions he asked.
I mean, that's the title. It says, is BJJ... I feel like he's getting bombarded with people.
Yeah.
I think the interest in BJJ is on the rise, and maybe that's from UFC or just the fact that it's growing. Mm-hmm. But I also think the community is way smaller than most people realize. I'd say 1 or 2 million people on Earth would be my... And I say that talking to guys like Pete at Origin.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean,
That's
they sell...
that's knowledgeable source.
He said maybe over 1 million, which in a population of, 8.3 billion on Earth, there's a lot of growth to go. Yeah. But if you're in a circle that likes it, you're going to hear about it a lot, 100%. Which I feel like this person is in that circle. So, what are your thoughts, Nelson?
Well,
retired blue belt.
Mr. 5'11", like 2% body fat and
18.
The guy that's 25% body fat and 5 foot and looks like bent rods and bad bods and knowing he could smoke you like in the parking lot, I think that's why you should train. I think, well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. For me, it's different. I train.
For you, it should be a requirement for your job.
Yeah, 100%.
I say that.
I used it the other day with a chick that...
you didn't use shit. You verbally de-escalated.
Did you see that video? Did I show it to you?
No.
Oh, this lady, it was a call to a town pump. And
the one up by your house?
No. In Evergreen. They called in. They're like, this chick's been in here for 45 minutes in the woman's bathroom, and we haven't seen her. I don't know how much of this I should say, but anyway.
I mean, too, maybe she went to the Thai place. Take it easy.
Yeah.
She got some questionable Indian food.
She had like a large backpack on. Obvious that this is like they tracked her as soon as she walked in. She went straight to the bathroom. So And so I got on the horn on our radios with the female officer that was at the office, just getting off shift. I'm like, hey, can you meet me down here? So as soon as I walk into the store, she happens to pop out. So like she's been in there 45, 50 minutes. As soon as I walk in, because I'm going to make contact with the clerk, like, hey, this bathroom right here, I'm going to wait for a female, like before, you know, doing whatever, because we have that resource. And as soon as I walk in, the chick walks out. So she's like, there she goes. So I follow her out, and she immediately gets on the fight. So I bring her to the ground.
She does what?
She gets on the fight with me. She has
squares
a backpack.
up? Does she give you the old knuckles up?
No, at first she's running away, and I'm like, hey, stop. So as soon as I get close, she spins around and like throws a slap, but it misses me. And at some point, we go to the ground. And she is screaming, and this is like 3 p.m. There's like parking lots full of people. And I like just posture up, knee on side, and she's just like swinging. But I don't know if she's got weapons or any of that. So I just basically, I'm like 902, which means like there's 901, which is like I ran out of tickets. Can I have a backup officer? To 903, which is like, hey, I'm in the shit. Can you send me everybody that we have?
Is 902 in between those?
Yes, sir. You're catching on fast.
It's the water's
raise
not
your right hand. I can swear you in right now.
The water's. I'm going to be code 11.
Yeah.
The water's not boiling, but it's simmering.
Yeah. Dustin always laughs at me. He's like, you called a 905 on the radio.
That's right. You guys share freaks.
Yeah. So anyway, but just having control, like this chick was like a slippery, like slap, like obnoxious. She just wanted to get out of there and would do whatever she could to leave. It turns out she had felony warrants and all kinds of other stuff.
What was she doing in the bathroom?
Probably meth. I don't know actually.
So how did
we found empty? Well, I don't know how much I can get into.
Did she calm down, or did you have to?
After she was handcuffed.
Yeah,
but it was like obvious, like it was very apparent that knowing jiu-jitsu, like knowing how to bring her hands out from underneath her, because I'm like, okay, she's digging for the center of her, like she's belly down, digging for the center part of her clothing. So I don't know if she's got an appendix carry pistol, which obviously, like, it's a pretty parent. She's a tweaker.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't have a appendix carry pistol, but she could have a shank or some sort, you know what I mean? So boom, figure 4, get that hand out. Now I'm just like knee on her side, and I'm just postured up and waiting I've called for backup units, and it felt like it took forever, but they got there. And then once they got there, pin her legs, we get the other arm out, we handcuff her, and now we pat her down and find out what we find out. But that long story to say, for my career, my job, man, it's so important. Like without that, I think it would have been like I would have gone to the red zone, because here's the chick that really doesn't want to go to jail. Really, she's lying about who she is, and so she would have fought with all her might. And now I'm engaged with this. Do I like disengage and let her run off, or do I go full in? And
how'd you get her to the ground?
I don't remember.
You just saw red.
I think she honestly, I think she tripped, because it was like there was a little curb there.
Let's be honest.
When I grabbed
the best
her,
takedown ever is one where they take themselves down.
Yeah,
2 points.
I honestly think she tripped over the curb.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
knee on side,
and it happens a lot. It happens. But anyway, going back to the question.
For you, it's a requirement.
Yeah. What
I would say to somebody, let's talk about jiu-jitsu as a workout first. It's great. Mm-hmm. It's not the end-all be-all. There's actually a lot of asymmetries I have found. You're curled up quite a bit. I think probably more than you are extended, depending on the game that you're playing. And I find there's more pulling than pushing.
Whenever I'm training with you, you're curled up a lot.
For sure.
Fetal.
Yeah, fetal is definitely the position I favor when we train. But I have found there's a little bit more pulling than there is pushing. Mm-hmm. Point being, you can develop asymmetries if it's your only workout, so I don't think it should be your only workout. But it's a fantastic workout for conditioning-wise, especially I think as you learn more, because then you can really, like, I'm just going to stay in third gear today. Or you could bump to fifth real fast and then back. So from a conditioning aspect, there's a huge benefit to it, but don't do it by itself. But there's a difference between conditioning and capacity. Like, this person runs and lifts, and I think that's awesome. But I don't care how tall you are, what you weigh, and what your body fat is. I think as an adult male, this is my personal opinion, that you should be incredibly capable of violence. And it doesn't mean you should be a violent person at all. I've actually found the people that are the best at violence are the least likely to engage in it. But if you have a gym body and you go out and get into it with the meth head, the curls and and the tricep extensions, they're not gonna help in that environment.
And you don't know what you don't know. Like
how true is that? Like when your first day of jiu-jitsu, you're like, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I'm pretty much a game time player. I'm pretty big deal. You've probably heard about me. And then you get your fucking ass kicked by a 150-pound accountant.
Totally.
Yeah.
Aaron,
who got you into jiu-jitsu.
Yep. That and that Gracie video.
Yeah.
There was combined pressures. But Aaron and I used to be workout partners, and we were like, I think my biggest I got was like 220.
Soldiers?
Yeah. Dude, unnecessary. But I felt great. I
Not
looked
only
great.
unnecessary, probably shitty for your job.
100%. But you felt good. Like you thought that you had
filling
what it
out
took.
that t-shirt.
Yeah,
just
it was dumb. Dude, dumb. For the first 2 years I trained jiu-jitsu, I didn't work out at all. Outside of jiu-jitsu.
Because you're probably exhausted.
Yeah. Since then, I put that back in.
Yeah.
But it's been a slow,
You gotta have a balance.
Yep. And I think this dude would really dig it. It sounds like he's into fitness.
Yeah.
And it is hard to start something that you're not good at.
I would say, correct, but I would say if he runs 2 times a week, I would start with maybe go 1 time a week to jiu-jitsu. What you'll realize is that you're going to get the same cardio you probably would if you were running. So then maybe you could just do jiu-jitsu twice a week and lift 3 times a week, and then you're going to be a savage.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
In like 10 years.
Yeah.
If you're going 2 times a
And
week.
that's the thing. He's 32. Where's he going to be when he's 42?
Or where do you want to be
Yeah.
when you're 42?
Like Chris Howder? Everybody's going to be
107.
somewhere in 10 years. Why
That
not
motherfucker
be-
attacked me at camp, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah?
Yeah.
I got to hear about this. But everybody's going to be somewhere in 10 years. Why not be a BJJ black belt as well?
What age do you wish that you had started jiu-jitsu?
The real answer is I wish as early as possible. However, there was a moment when I crossed paths with a couple guys in college that were training jiu-jitsu in 2002. And they're wrestlers, the Colella brothers. And Mike and Tony, dude, they're Border Patrol guys now, but they're short, really successful wrestlers. And they were getting after it before everybody. And I wish I had dove in with those guys back then because I saw it, I had the opportunity to, and then fast forward to 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm now.
Can you imagine if your movement patterns had been developed 15, 20 years ago? I see some of the kids. My answer to that would be probably somewhere like 8 to 10, just being exposed to or grappling in general, like a mix of wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I look at some of these little fuckers. I'm like,
yeah, dude.
Bastard.
Just the other day, I got asked on a call, actually, this guy and I were talking. He's like, yeah, my kids are in wrestling. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I train at SBG. And he's like, man, did you grow up wrestling? And I'm like, no, I played hockey and football. They're doing nothing for me now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I had wrestled, I would have that single, double, I'd have that muscle memory. Did you see?
You'd actually have a top game.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Great. Did you see jiu-jitsu mixed in throughout your life? Oh, that's jiu-jitsu.
You know what turned me off to it is how overbearing the people were who were involved with it. I know exactly what this guy is talking about.
Yeah.
It kind of became the soup du jour in the SEAL community as I was on my way out. And they were almost so in love with it that I had to hate it on general principle.
Yeah.
I had to
And then you moved to Montana and this dude's like, hey, bro. Hey, bro.
Oh,
Hey, bro.
God, you were so fucking annoying.
I'm so disappointed that you signed up.
Why? Why are you disappointed?
Well, because I get choked out all the time.
That's your own fault for not
I
coming
know.
to class. And you do the same 3 moves over and over again. I could literally tell you your opening sequence right now.
As a matter of fact, last time we were rolling, 2 weeks ago, you were like, oh, you still do that to open? I'm like, have I ever done this before? I think I'm working on something.
You try the same pass you pass to your left every single time.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm going to mix it up.
No, you're not. You don't know anything else, apparently, because you never come to class. So my overall advice, is it really that important? It depends. Is it really that important for a fitness routine? Probably not. In my opinion, is it important to be a very dangerous human being as an adult male? And I think equally so as a female? Yes. but do with that what you will.
Agreed. Also, an additional thing, you meet some awesome dudes at jiu-jitsu.
Well, there you also meet some pieces of shit,
True. But
which is the way in any community.
Yeah. But there's some guys that'll be inputted into your life that are probably just really good dudes that'll be lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Not that that's what you go for. I didn't go there for that, but I ended up with it.
And you can also participate without getting, like a weekly subscription to an acai bowl organization or fucking jiu-jitsu as life tattoo on your forehead.
Board shorts and flip-flops, bro.
Well, I'm from Southern California, so that's acceptable.
I know.
But I'm just saying is, there's the spectrum.
Yeah.
Hate it. Only wear jiu-jitsu shirts and have jiu-jitsu tattoos on your face and somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
pick and choose.
Yeah. It's fun.
Closing thoughts. We've already been at it for more of an hour.
Have we?
Yeah.
Dude, it's fun. Thanks for having me in.
Yeah. What are you on nights?
This was my last night of nights, so now I go to days for a month.
What's your days? 6A?
6 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And then you'll go swings, then you'll go nights?
Yep.
I thought you guys were getting to a place where you're going to be able to bid.
No, that was entertained. It's not going to happen. But hey, man, you eat it as it comes. I'm good with it. It's the way we're living life now.
What do you eat as it comes?
The elephant, bro. What I mean is,
where do you start?
Hey, it's something I can't control. I can't control the schedule. So instead of like being gripey and bummed about it, I'm going to like be like, okay, sweet. Next week I can hit jiu-jitsu these days. Next week I can go bear hunting these days.
But you're not going to be able to do jiu-jitsu at all because it's going to be right in the middle of your
evening. I can go in the evening.
Okay.
So I get off at 5. At 7, I'll be at Whitefish.
Or you could come down to Leah's class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Denver and I are there.
No joke. At the 7 p.m.?
Yeah, I'm going to go to it today.
Right.
Like an hour and a half. For those of you who don't know, this is Monday. This episode will be out Friday because I'm going on the road tomorrow. So
right on.
That's all I got. You got anything else to add?
No, it was great.
I was talking with Aaron about this. Have they announced yet whether or not they are going to have a large opening of slots? Because if people are looking to lateral, I wanted to be able to give them the opportunity to know that a very awesome community is hiring. Have you heard that yet?
So it's going to happen.
Okay.
I mean, we're always hiring. So if you're interested, you're looking.
But there's a window, right?
There will be. Right now we have an open process, I believe. So when is this going to come out Friday?
Yeah.
I think that there's an opening right now.
Okay.
And
as in single?
I don't know. I think they're compiling a list. So in anticipatory, position openings. So I don't know, man, but I know that it seems like we're always hiring. It goes in like 2 cycles, 6-month cycles.
Where should they look?
Good question. Flathead County job service website. It has a
so you have
deputy
no idea.
Sheriff.
You have absolutely no idea
I do.
Where people should look. Okay.
It's Flathead County the Flathead County website, and then under that is job openings, and you can be like the trash mover, or you can be public works, or you can be deputy sheriff. So
cool.
But yeah, man, honestly, it's a good place to be.
I think so.
Yeah.
A lot of people are complaining about the population of the valley increasing.
Dude, it's nice having restaurants now.
I was going to say,
there's
pros and cons.
Yep.
More people, more diversity, more things are coming to the valley because of it. And at the end of the day, the wintertime it'll weed out the ones that are not quite prepared.
You just kind of go with a wave because, like I said, we got good sushi now and a sweet ski resort. In the summertime, rad rivers to raft and blue ribbon fly fishing. We have it is probably the busiest place in Montana right now for influx of people, but it's also creates opportunity.
Yeah.
So you got to look at it that way. I can't
agree.
control my schedule. I can't control the people moving here. So you roll with that.
You can control how many naked people you chase this summer.
Yeah, it's 0.
Just make sure you send me the body cam footage. I'm fascinated by the...
I need your brother-in-law over here in his fire truck to...
It should just be straight taser to handcuff to gurney. Like, but I'm not a cop. So
it happens that way sometimes.
All right, man.
Not every time.
Thanks.